Hey, Blane, how's it going?
Hey there. How's it going?
It's going well. I'm so excited to have you with me to, chat and play some music. And it's been a while since we talked, actually.
Yeah, it's been, man, I'm trying to remember what, like July, something like that, maybe earlier.
Yeah, I think whenever Lori moved, like, what's new? What are you up to?
Just writing a lot of music, uh, kind of working on getting a band together right now. So we have a few drummers we keep swapping in and out, trying to find the right guy just to kind of, be able to play in the pocket and really fit our vibe type of thing. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Just working, coming home, playing music, going back to work, coming back home, playing more music.
You work so that you can play music, right? It's like we
Yeah,
work so that we can fulfill our dreams and passions. It's
that's
kind of
pretty much
how
it.
it goes. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's cool too, because like working, at Gibson, it's you know, you can't even try to take a break mentally for music because you're just surrounded by guitars all day. So even if you have 2 seconds where you're like, "Oh, I'm not gonna think about music," it just pulls you back in, you
That's
know.
a life, being surrounded by guitars. So I
It's
would own a
pretty
hundred of them
wild.
if I could. If I had room to, I would have like a whole room that would be just guitars, even though I
Uh
wouldn't really play them. But I
I'm
would.
working on that now, but the problem is the room of guitars happens to be my living room, which is a little odd, but
No, that's cool. I like that. Okay. Hey.
when you
That's
do what you can.
yeah, absolutely. Well, so tell me about working for Gibson. I mean, what is that like? Tell me all about your
Um,
creative process at Gibson, because you build the guitars, right?
yeah, so it's kind of like each person has their own hand in the whole process, it's so, when I applied there, I had a friend who worked there who kind of gave me a good word, thankfully, but it's pretty much my job is just painting them, which is, in my opinion, probably the coolest part in, anything you really do there, being the guy that paints them, it's a lot of fun. I remember my first day, it was really overwhelming because it's, if you go in there, it's huge. It's like, it's giant. And I was pretty overwhelmed at first, but, after a couple months of being there, you kind of get the hang of things. So it's, just come in, figure out, what guitars you have for the day, and then, organize them, get it all set up, throw the paint on them, make sure they look good.
I would never have even thought about that. I look at a guitar and I don't think about the person that painted it. So that is so neat. What is that? What is that like? The process of that? What do you have to do?
So there's definitely a learning curve on it. I remember when I first started doing it, I got kind of, I don't know, discouraged almost. It was
Oh
kind of
no.
like, it was like, a guy, he's like, "All right, I'm going to show you how to paint this guitar." I'm like, paint a guitar? I've never painted anything in my life, but all right, we'll see how it goes. And, you have like the paint gun. So it's like, it's got paint that goes through with compressed air, just kind of airbrushes it on. And, there's a really difficult learning curve with it. It's kind of like, if you lean in too much, put too much paint on it, the paint starts running, you got to sand it down, start over. Um, if you don't put enough, it just doesn't look good. So it was about 3 months or so of just kind of beating my head against the wall, trying to get the hang of it. But been there it was a year in August now.
Okay.
So it's just, yeah, it's kind of like, when I started there, I was kind of doing a lot of the Les Pauls, which, were
Yes, we
kind
do.
of Gibson's, yeah, they're Gibson's pride and joy. So it was pretty cool. I was doing like the wine reds and the, Heritage Cherry SGs too. Those were really cool. The 60s Cherries ESs as well, and the Les Pauls. So, it was a lot of red paint at the start, and then, then they kind of start introducing more and more as you learn, because each color is a little different to do. So then I started doing the ebony guitars, which were actually pretty easy, and then now they have me doing, all I do is just the white Flying V's and Explorers, which
Okay.
in terms of difficulty, it's a lot harder than when I first started, but it's a lot more rewarding because for me personally, I mean, the pointy guitars, the really obnoxious looking things, so it's kind of where my heart lies. It was pretty cool. And they were like, hey, what do you think about painting the Explorers and the Bees? I was like, really, me? Okay.
Yeah. Oh man, that like signifies headbanging, when you see the pointy guitars.
That's the thing too. It's like, it calls to me, I love Les Pauls. I love them to death. I love all Gibson guitars, obviously, but the Explorer is my favorite guitar of all time. I was a kid watching James Hetfield on stage playing one, and
yes,
it was just the coolest thing to me. And then I remember being a kid being like, working at Gibson one day, that would be cool. Didn't think I would ever do it, but
you
here we
actually
are.
thought that as a kid, and then you ended up there.
It's really strange too. Just because you have it in your head, you're like, yeah, it'd be cool to work at Gibson, but you never think you're actually gonna do it. And then here we are, about a decade or so later.
Right. So you can dream something and then it can happen. Like that's kind of the key there for people to keep in mind. Okay, I have to ask, because now this is going through my head. Can you ruin a guitar when you're painting it? Like, can you like totally just mess it up and completely ruin it and have to scrap it?
So in terms of painting, the worst thing you can do is just, put on too much paint, and, the paint runs and it doesn't look good. You got to start over, but thankfully you can't ruin it with the paint. You just clean all the paint off, start over from scratch. So it's annoying when you do mess up, but thankfully it's not one of those things where you mess up once you've ruined a guitar. Otherwise there's a good chance I'd be ruining a lot of guitars in my early days there.
Yeah, because I'm thinking, man, what if you could like mess it up beyond repair and then they have to throw it away? And then like, could you imagine all the guitars they could end up scrapping? Although that might be kind of neat, like to get like a special guitar, the one that they couldn't sell. It can become like a collector's edition and it looks all modeled and
that is the cool thing. They'll hang on to their guitars. If they have a guitar that, has some sort of defect on it where they can't sell it to a customer, but they don't really want to throw it away either. Kind of, they'll put it away for a while, and, maybe if you're lucky, one day you'll walk away with it. If someone's feeling rather generous.
Cool. Well, maybe you can collect some that way.
I'm lucky. Might hide a few away, not tell anyone.
A
few years later, be like, what are all these guitars back here?
Oh man, now you've got your guitar museum.
Yeah, my guitar museum that I can't take home. Stays with me at work.
Yeah. And you've been playing a lot of Pearl Jam covers on on TikTok lately.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, wait, it was on one of those mediums. I'm not on TikTok, but people share a bunch of stuff, but that's been really cool. And you have, like, what I love about what I've seen you do so far on there, you have this very Eddie-esque nature to your voice and just to what you're doing, but it's still very much you. So it's like you're paying homage to Eddie Vedder, but we're still getting Blane.
I appreciate that. That's really cool. I have this fear in the back of my head when I really only get like in that style kind of when I'm doing Pearl Jam songs. But every time I'm doing one, I'm just like, man, I hope I don't sound like I'm totally copying Eddie Vedder right now. Not too much, at least.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, you can hear Eddie there, but like I said, it's still very much you. And I love the way that you've put your style on that. It's really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, it's his vocal style, man. I remember I heard Black for the first time, and it's funny too. I didn't even hear Pearl Jam do it. Corey Taylor from Slipknot.
Oh.
So yeah, I found this like YouTube video of, this is when I was a teenager, of him doing like an acoustic show, and he did a cover of Black, and I was like, whoa, this is such a good song. At the time, Corey Taylor to me was like my idol. I thought he was like the best singer, and I still think he's amazing, definitely in my top 3 to 5 easily. But I was like, wow, that's so good. I'll check out the original. No way it's better than his, right? Little did I know
I remember, so I discovered Pearl Jam when 10 came out, and I don't remember how long it had been out. I was in middle school, and I remember the video for Jeremy, and we didn't have cable. So I didn't have
Mhm.
MTV at home or anything like that. I was the weird kid that, didn't have all the MTV VH1 stuff where all my friends were watching it, but I didn't have
Yeah.
access to it. But I'd go to a friend's house, and then I would get to watch all these music videos that my parents didn't want me watching. And so I remember the video for Jeremy and hearing that song for the first time, and just fell in love with the band, and got it on cassette tape. Okay. I
There
think I
you
still
go.
have
Yeah.
that somewhere, the cassette tape for 10. And I mean, the rest was history. I've just loved Pearl Jam forever. I was listening to some of them earlier this evening from No Code, a couple of
Mhm.
songs from No Code, which is one of my favorite albums of theirs. And then Vitology. I mean, that's definitely a great album. But so, okay, so working at Gibson. All right, so I have a lot of people actually that know me don't know that I own guitars or that I used to play. It's kind of funny. There's people that
Mhm.
know about me and guitars, and there's people that don't. So I actually brought my guitars. Since you work for Gibson, I brought my guitars. So I guess people want to see what I own. They're both Epiphones, and this one needs new strings. This one needs some TLC actually, but this is a Les Paul Special too.
There we go.
Yeah.
Looks pretty, I don't know, it looks pretty good to me, at least over Zoom.
Yeah.
Looks in pretty good shape.
So,
You should see my guitars. They get beat up. It's terrible.
I let someone borrow this one years ago, and yeah, it's in fact, actually, I think I need to get some work done on it because there's something wrong with the wiring on the inside. So I need to figure that out and get somebody to fix that for me. But yeah, I let somebody borrow it, and I think it got a little scratched up, but it's not too bad. So yeah, that was my first and only electric guitar that I ever owned. But my baby is this one. Ah, there we go. So
Oh, there we go.
neck, and we'll turn it around because I am.
Love it.
Yeah. So there we go.
Yeah.
We're
You know,
on-
the cool
we're on
thing
the
about the cool thing about the Epiphone acoustics too, it's just that cool E logo on the pick guard, you know. And so I, off the top of my head, I can't think of like any other brands that do that. And it's just like, it's such a staple too. Because it's always that thing where it's like if you're standing there watching somebody play, you're kind of far away, you can't read the name on the headstock, you know. But if they have the big E on the pick guard, you're like, oh, I know what that is.
That's as close to like, which it's still Gibson, but I don't
Mhm.
have any like Gibson guitars. They're both Epiphone. My dream guitar would be a J45, like an
Ooh,
old, like 1960
yeah.
vintage Sunburst J45. Don't have that, probably never will. And this is kind of cool. I'm just going to sit like this for a minute because then I can look like I'm about to play a song, which I'm totally not, but I can look really cool.
I think you pull it off. I think
Yeah.
if I didn't know better, I'd say you're about to break out some tunes for us.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to play my latest song from my latest album. It's called
Well, there we
Nothing.
go.
Yeah. But yeah, those are my girls. They don't see the light of day much. It's kind of sad, actually. I feel bad for them. They need someone to play them.
You know, the good thing is
They're
you still
lonely.
keep them. You know, the worst thing people always do is they'll sell a guitar and then, you know, once they do that, they kind of realize, oops, I wanted to play it. You know, 6 months later, they regret selling it. It's just one of those things.
Yeah, no, I've had these since high school, and I'll never get rid of them. And I'm hoping that Sean will learn. He wants to play the guitars. He's still playing
Mhm.
piano, but he wants to play the guitar. So I'm hoping he'll take those over for me, and then they can be happy
There we
again.
go. You know, that's the good thing too. You know, come Christmas Day, if he wants a guitar, you're like, oh, I have one right here.
Yes,
Perfect.
here you go. Absolutely.
Yeah, he's right at the age too, you know, when you know, they start getting interested in that sort. I hopped around a little bit too before I stuck with guitar. You know, I did piano is what I started on.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
don't
tell
play
me
a lot of
about
that
that.
these days. What's that?
Tell me about your music. Tell me like how you got started, and your little bit of background with that.
Yeah, it's kind of strange. Like I always had an infatuation with it. You know, it's um I guess before anything else, I was kind of a singer. Like, my mom even tells me, like, like some of the first things she can remember, like about me as a baby is like, I would just start, like, I'd wake up every morning in the crib singing. It was like just how I woke
Oh,
up,
are there
just sang
videos of that?
songs. I hope so, but maybe not, but I'll have to ask her. But yeah, it was just kind of like, I don't know. I've always had this infatuation with music and just loved singing growing up, like cool songs on the radio. I would just sing them all day, drive my whole house nuts. And then around, I would say maybe like 11, 12 years old, I started kind of messing around on piano. And, the whole point of me picking up an instrument was just to accompany my singing because I thought, it's kind of boring singing without anything else, right? So, started messing around on piano and I got pretty decent at it. And I would say around, I think like 13 years old, my dad had an acoustic guitar that he just kind of was laying around the house. I wasn't allowed to play it. He'd go to work. I'd sneak it off the stand and then just go to my room and mess around with it. But yeah, it was one of those things where just kind of once I got a hold of it, it was like, you kind of can't put it down, which, I don't think there's anything else in my life that was like that. It's just I don't know, you just kind of like from the moment you pick it up, it just kind of resonates with you. So, from there, it was just kind of like, here we go, let's take off with it. And, here we are. So I think it's we've been playing for 12 years now, somewhere in
Wow.
that ballpark.
That's awesome. Yeah, there's something about picking up a guitar and holding it and it just feels right. Like
Hmm.
there's a connection between musician and guitar. At least that's how I view it, and that's one of my biggest regrets is giving it up and like not continuing with it. If I felt like if I'd stuck with it, maybe I could have gained some proficiency, maybe not, I don't know. But I admire anyone who plays any instrument, not just guitar, but
Hmm.
musicians who play and who write music. I write lyrics, but I don't write the music. But there's a lot of just beautiful artistry out there, and sometimes I listen to some of these songs and I'm just blown away. How people just come up with that. You sit down with your guitar and you strum it out, and you make beautiful things happen. So.
And it's funny too, because like, even after, I mean, I've been playing guitar forever now, but, even I'll sit down, I'll listen to a song, and with whatever technical prowess I like to think I have sometimes, I'm just like, how did they come up with that? You know, it's one of those things where it's, with music, everybody just kind of has their kind of, it's almost like having a conversation with it. And it's like, the conversation someone else has with their guitar may not be the same one you have, so it's like you're each having different conversations and you're going to have different talks and come up with different things. And, you just kind of, I think being honest with it is really the easiest way to kind of, I guess, be happy with it, and just whatever comes out is just, that's it. Uh, in terms of the songwriting process, there's kind of like no set way that I do it. It's kind of an amalgamation of different things that brings about a song for me. So, if I'm on acoustic and I'm just kind of strumming some chords, I might just find a cool chord progression I like, and then I'll, start just humming melodies, and just if something just kind of sticks, it's almost like you'll just hum melodies, and then when something catches your ear, you kind of know, it feels right. So then I'll keep the melody with the chord progression on acoustic, and I'm like, all right, this sounds good. Does this have to stay on acoustic? So it might not have to, right? So, establishing the melody for me is like the big part of the song, especially on the vocal. The vocal is so important to me, but it's, if I get the cool melody that I love and I kind of want to take it to another place, I'll go on the electric guitar, I have the chord progression, so then I'll figure out a riff to go with it. So then you have the main rhythm driving it, and then you can have lead guitar parts that go over it with the vocal and just kind of have everything play off of each other. And sometimes it just starts with the riff on the electric, where you're just you just write something crazy and you're like, I don't even have a vocal for this, but this is so good. I know I'm going to come up with something.
Do you ever wake up with a song in your head?
I do, and it terrifies me because if I can't get to my phone quick enough, I'm like, I don't want to lose it.
Yeah, that's like when I'm somewhere where there's no pen and paper and I'm in the worst possible place, and entire dialogue for a scene will come into my head. And I'm like, no, I've got to write this down. And it'll be like some of the coolest dialogue between two characters. And it's like, I've got to get this down. I've got to get it down now. And I don't have any way to write it down. So
I feel like that's got to be the worst too, because I'm sure you're just like going over it in your head constantly, just trying not to forget it.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, wait, what did he say? What did he say? Or just sometimes it's like a one-liner, something really touchy, something really beautiful and poignant for a moment. And if I don't get it down, I'll forget it, and then it's gone. And I'm like, oh, but then I'll have to remind myself, okay, maybe it wasn't meant to be. That's how I make myself feel better.
Yeah, just kind of justify it somehow, losing it.
Like, oh, okay, yeah, it wasn't supposed to be in there, even though it was great.
I'll come up with something else.
Do you have an overactive brain? Because my mind goes 24/7. Even when I'm sleeping, it doesn't shut off. There are stories and characters in my head all day long, every day. And my brain does not shut off. So I've definitely got to have some way to keep track of all of that.
I am the exact same way. Yeah, it's for me, I like to just call it the circus in my brain. The thing is, it's like during the day, I really don't mind it that much. It can be distracting or whatever, but it's like I'm always thinking about something creative, or just the gears are turning. But the problem is when I'm laying in bed at night, it's 2 a.m. I have to be up at like 5 or 6, and the circus won't stop. That's the problem, is there's no off switch on it. Yeah, it's the problem. There's no off switch for it. Just give me the off switch.
There's not. Maybe that's why I'm so tired all the time. Like, I am exhausted every day, but that's probably why.
And the problem for me as well is like just trying to relay information to people about a like spontaneous, like creative thing. It's like, I'll have an idea and I'll just start going off, just talking. They're like, okay, slow down. Okay, let's start here, because you started here, then you went here, and then, it's like,
yes,
people don't, I guess, I don't know. You have to have like that just funky wired brain to understand it. I don't know. It's a blessing and a curse.
It is. And trying to make sense of it in real time when it's coming to you, like after you've sorted it all out and you've got it, okay, you can probably convey that to someone a little bit better. But when it's coming to you in the moment, it does not make sense to anyone else but you. But like, you're getting it. You're like, this is great stuff. But you can articulate that to someone else, does not work.
I have the exact same problem. And I think the worst part too is like just the frustration you have at other people when they're not understanding you. It's like you're just trying to articulate this, I don't know, just circus in your head.
Yeah.
And they're just not understanding it. They're like, I have no idea what you're trying to tell me right now.
Like, it's really great. I promise. Yeah. It's wonderful. It's the next big thing. No, it's really not, but yeah.
Yeah. But I think that's the good thing. It's crazy at first, but then once you kind of get it all down on paper, or, whatever your medium is, it's kind of organize it and figure out how to, okay, it makes sense to me. How do I get this to make sense for other people,
Yeah. And then sometimes you get it out, and after a couple of days, you look at it and go, that wasn't as good as I thought it was, but I'm glad I got it out. I'm glad I worked that out. Now I'm going to move on and try this other thing. Because that happens too.
Yeah.
I'm like, that was such a great idea 2 days ago. And then I look at it now and I go, yeah, no.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to play a Pearl Jam song. Is that right?
This song, everyone knows this song, but it has a really special place for me because I remember the moment I heard it and started getting into this song, I reached a point where I was like, I think this is my favorite song ever. And I was a teenager at the time, like maybe like 16 years old. And here we are nearly 10 years later, still my favorite song of all time.
Oh, yeah. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's just that last bit, it just kind of gets to me. Yeah, this isn't really a song that I've done acoustic. I just kind of put together a mock version of it. And I was like, this sounds pretty cool. So why don't we put a bit of a spin on it? So Not to say I miss you. I miss you. Good luck and goodbye.
Oh, that was so beautiful.
Thank you.
That was beautifully done.
Yeah, I forgot how long that song is. As I was getting towards the end, I'm like, man, have I been playing this for like 10 minutes?
Oh no, but it's great. And I think the only thing better than that would be to have you and Eddie in a duet.
I would lose my mind.
I know.
I would. I think I would quit music because it doesn't get any better than that.
No, it doesn't.
Any better, any Eddie Vedder, you know?
There you go. Yeah. No, if you ever meet Eddie Vedder, you have to call me immediately. Tell me your location and I will be there. Okay. Like, I don't care. I will drive from wherever I'm at to that.
It'll be an immediate FaceTime call, I promise.
Yes. Oh man, no, that's awesome. That's great. And like I said, you just put your own spin on it. It's Pearl Jam, but it's Blane, you know? So I love that.
Thank you.
It's not, like a copy. So
yeah, I really appreciate that too, because that's always like, I don't know, I think with any art, you just kind of, you do your thing because, it's like, how do you live life without doing it? But you always have this thing in the back of your head of like, how are others perceiving this? Because, you never perceive yourself the way other people are. So it's almost like you play a guessing game. Like, what does this sound like to someone else's ear?
I think it's important not to get too caught up in that too, to be your authentic self and not let your, worries about people's perceptions kind of hinder you. Cause I know I'm guilty of that. Like, what do other people think about this, but yeah, I think you're doing a great job. Yeah. All right. Well, so if people want to follow you and like see your music, see what you're up to, where can they find you at?
TikTok is a pretty good one in terms of music stuff. The plan for that is so I've had it for a while, but I only started like posting regularly, like pretty recently since I moved into this apartment, which was like June. Yeah, so I just started posting. I'm at like almost 2,000 followers. I made that cover of Black, just that ending part, the other day. It's up to like 20,000 views now, which is super cool.
Nice.
A bunch of people are tagging Eddie Vedder in it.
Yes. Okay, so this could happen. This could happen. Eddie's going to see it. And then you guys are going to play like a whole set together. And then at the very end, you're going to make sure that he plays Yellow Ledbetter just for me.
Of course.
Okay.
Well, me and him will do a duet. We might bring you on stage for it.
Yes. Oh man. All right. And I will make up all the lyrics.
And no one will know the difference. That's the beauty of that song.
Maybe I could just say I wrote it. I wrote that song for Eddie years ago, when I was like a kid.
You were a very talented child.
Yeah, no. So
yeah, TikTok is it's a Metallica reference. It Comes Alive, all one word. Old school deep cut Metallica song.
Yeah, but I like
plan
that.
on posting music on there when I made it, but it's just kind of like, it's a fun name.
It is.
And then Instagram is just Blane Trotter.
Okay, so Instagram and TikTok, people are going to find you, they're going to follow you, and we're going to see what cool new music you're putting out, your covers, and you put original stuff too, I'm sure, or you will.
Yeah, I have some original stuff on there.
Okay. Do you have an album coming out or anything like that?
So funny thing you mentioned that. I'm actually, I put most of my energy into like the heavy, like the hard rock metal type of stuff, but I kind of realized I'm like, whoa, I have this huge back catalog of acoustic stuff. So lately I've been delving into that, and I think I'm gonna get all those songs together and just at home just record a thing, because I have mics and for days. So I think I'm just gonna put all those together and just come out with like an acoustic EP.
Oh man,
just originals.
I can't wait for that. So like, I love hard rock, and I could listen to hard rock all the time and headbang like the best of them, but my heart is with acoustic guitar music. There's just something about acoustic music that speaks to me on a level that nothing else does. And especially when it's just one person and their guitar. There's something so beautiful and personal about that. So yeah, I love it. So I can't wait for the EP. Oh, well, thank you so much for chatting with me. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I was
this
pretty
fun.
excited for this too. I was like, okay, this will be a new thing. Get to play some songs on a, podcast. Like that's super cool.
Yeah, well, I'll have to have you back. So you're going to come back.
Absolutely.
And be a regular.
I'm totally down for it.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, everybody's going to follow you on TikTok and Instagram, and I will chat with you later. But thank you so much for coming.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I've had a good time.
All right. You as well. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.